Good afternoon, fellow ruminators. Welcome back to another session, Rumination with Andrew. Thank you so much for joining as we are about to discuss a very important topical matter. And this afternoon, we are going to look at the whole matter that Trump is in a new term. He's now in as the 47th president of the United States. And I just want to discuss here briefly the fact that Jamaica needs to get its act together in terms of solving the crime monster. Now, I'm advancing the statement that if Jamaica does not contain crime and violence, I think that Trump is going to declare Jamaica as a national threat, a national security threat to the United States, a country that is a country of terrorism, that the terrorists, he is going to brand us as terrorists if we continue with these high murder rates that we are witnessing in Jamaica, something that we need to think about. And we need to also move away from the thought process of thinking that because Trump is white, according to us, and that, Jamaica is predominantly black, according to what they have told you, that, okay, he's racist, and that's why he's treating us the way, or he treats us the way, or would treat us the way in which he's going to treat us if we should ever get that status as a country that practices terrorism, as a terrorist nation. We must understand that we have created, to a large extent, this crime monster. Had we educated our people, had we developed an economy that was for everyone, in which Jamaicans, the majority of Jamaicans, could survive and survive decently, I think that crime would be significantly reduced. Had we also enforced law and order, we have laws on the book, but we often do not enforce them. Our laws do not have any teeth. So the criminals, when they know that they will not be apprehended and they can go scot-free, then they will continue on carrying out their mayhem, and they will continue murdering our citizens. Crime and violence is also, we can call it organized crime, because it is something that is a part of the fabric of our society, the social and economic fabric of our society. And we don't have to discuss that. I think everybody knows that, because if you don't know that, then you would understand that if it were not so, then it could be solved. But every time we see it, it comes up in the media. We're hearing that they're using the Zozo, right? They're having states of emergency, and there is no credible, viable crime plan that has ever been, formulated and crafted under successive administrations, whether JLP or PNP. And don't come for me now and telling me that the JLP is doing this and the JLP is doing that, because under the JLP as well as under the PNP, crime and violence have been a national disaster. And remember now that when we have these national disasters like crime and violence, they can spread throughout other countries, throughout other territories. Recently, I read a story that came from the Dominican Today. That's an online newspaper in the Dominican Republic, in which they said, a Dominican gang member who resided in Haiti suggested, and I think he was apprehended by the police. He said that legions of Dominicans, that people from the Dominican Republic are formed or a part of, have joined Haitian gangs. Legions. You know what legions mean? Thousands of them, okay, are there, right? And they are part of the Haitian gangs. Now, what happens when the Jamaican gangs also begin to collaborate with the Haitian gangs? What's going to happen? What is going to happen if we can't control what is happening there, the gangs on our soil? What happens when they begin now to collaborate internationally, regionally? Then we are going to be unable to contain crime and violence in Jamaica, and nobody will be able to live in Jamaica. Now, I think that if we do not contain crime and violence, we are going to have a big problem with Trump. And we cannot blame him for that, because we have to get our house in order. Talk about that. Yesterday, I was reading a story, or last night before I went to bed, in which Trump is threatening the prime minister of India, saying to him that if you do not take back your illegal immigrants to this country, to the United States, then we will have to impose high tariffs on all imports coming from India. So he's already threatening the most populous country in the world with an economy with probably one of the largest, if not the largest economies, one of the largest, yes, I should say not the largest because they are certainly not, but certainly one of the largest economies in the world, right? And he's threatening, Trump is already making that threat to India, to the Indian prime minister, telling him that you've got to accept your illegal immigrants and I'm going to send them, I'm going to ship them back to India. And if you don't accept them, then I will have to impose high tariffs on your goods. Now, what if Trump should do that to Jamaica? Well, we don't have lots of things exporting, but even so, whatever we export there would still be a problem if he should impose high tariffs on us, saying to Jamaicans that if you don't solve your crime problem, if you don't lower your murder rate significantly, then we might have to impose high tariffs on you, or we might not accept any more of your students or any of your citizens because we don't want them to come with that culture of violence to the United States. What if he should tell our country that? What if he should tell the prime minister that that is what he's going to do? And Trump is no respecter of persons, as we're seeing. He does the same thing to Canada, to a white prime minister, as you're going to say. So don't say now that he's racist, because he's doing it to anyone. Because as much as you might not like him, give him his credit. He likes law and order. He does not like disorder. Trump does not like social disorder, right? He likes order, and we must have some law and order. Is he a righteous guy? Is he not corrupt? Yes, he's corrupt, and he's far from being righteous. But if we are going to live in a society that is at least habitable, we have to have law and order. Much of what the Democrats did, and they've brainwashed lots of people into believing, like, you know, the whole matter of this diversity and inclusion. I mean, all of what they're saying is not true. You think is that they want to include lots of Black people, and why Trump is not including lots of Black people in his administration. If you are including lots of Black people and gay people and trans people and all of this sort of people into your administration, it says nothing. If you're going to have lawlessness, right? And the Democratic Party, for the most part, was not a country, that was not a party, rather, that was enforcing law and order. And that is why we have the situation with the immigrants at the border there. And situations in which 300 children who have been trafficked at the border, at the US border, and cannot be traced. So we don't know where these children are and who is doing what to them. We have to have law and order. And now that Trump is going to clean up with his iron fist, we're having a problem with that. Then we must understand that we cannot have our cake and eat it at the same time. We must have law, we must enforce law and order, or we are going to witness the continuous snuffing out of human lives, or Jamaica will be completely uninhabitable, which it is fast becoming like Haiti. Now, the Gleaner this morning did a very important story written by, I can't see the name of the writer here, but it's a review, it's a year in review, and crime is the story that encapsulates what the reviewer here is doing for what happened in last year, 2024 in Jamaica. And it says with a 7-day period low of 9 murders during the week of Christmas and a high 44 during 1 week in November. So in November of last year, we had 1 week in which Jamaica recorded 44 murders. However, in Christmas, during that 7-day period, I beg your pardon, 7-day period during the Christmas in December, we only recorded 7 murders, right? Or 9 murders, or not 9 murders. 9 murders were recorded in 7 days, right? In a week, we just had 9 murders. And 9 murders are a lot. But guess what? It's not a lot in Jamaica, because it's normal to have like 44 right? You can have 44 murders in 1 week in Jamaica, as what took place in as the writer is suggesting in last November, right? Okay, so 1 week in 2024 in November, they recorded 44 murders. So Jamaica's homicide numbers in 2024 averaged 22 murders per week throughout the year. 22 murders per week during the year. That is, that's amazing. And it suggests to us that that's a country at war. That is a country at war. If you're averaging, it's average now, could be more, right? But Jamaica averaged 22 murders per week in 2024. Now, this is the stats that is coming from the Jamaica Gleaner. Go and check it out here in review, and you'll see crime. Check it out for yourselves and read it and get alert and become aware of what is happening in Jamaica. But we are doing well, and I should not be saying that. I should not be discouraging you, and based on the narratives coming from your Prime Minister. Now, the Gleaner says that despite the reduced murder rate, Jamaicans were rocked by several horrifying incidents, including a politician charged with the murder of his wife and numerous mass killings, which the government has termed multiple victim violent incidents. Now, in addition to that, we have community-based gang and domestic violence, deadly armed robberies, and contract killings. So contract killings, for those of you who do not know, is also a business in which people will pay you some money to kill someone. They probably give you a gun and say, get rid of that person, and you do it, and then they pay you. So that's what we call contract killing. So that is also a business. That's also an industry in Jamaica. And that is why you don't need to have these established industries in Jamaica. And somebody was telling me yesterday, my cousin was saying that, she says, Andrew, in spite of what we say about this government and how bad the government is, she said, and she's right, she says that this government has opened up a lot of opportunities, that's the JLP government under Andrew Holness, to young people. And she contextualized it by saying, and she has lived in Jamaica all her life, right? And she contextualized it by saying that you can go to a heart free of cost. You can go to get some skill in, what we call it now, sewing. If you want to be a tailor, right? A seamstress. You can go there, you can go to school, and you can get qualified and you can be certified. And all the skills through the HEART program that the Prime Minister has developed and has implemented free of cost. Free of cost. However, when Jamaicans look at Jamaica and the infrastructure, the economic infrastructure of Jamaica, and they realize how hard it is to start up even a simple business, they don't see becoming a tailor or a seamstress or a mason or whatever as being profitable, as being lucrative. They don't see it. Maybe it's easier to go to a bank and get some money, a loan, to buy a car and to do some foolish things than to go there to start up a business. Jamaica is a place in which, it is hospitable, I should say, that is hospitable to small and medium-sized businesses, and that is why they're not going to do it. So in fact, even though the Prime Minister has created these opportunities, if the environment is not right, then they're not going to do it. And we can't just say that we are doing it just because we want to export these skills abroad, because you have to live there. Everybody can't go to the United States. Everybody can't go to Canada. And everybody, nobody probably wants to go to Canada right now because Canada is a mess. And the United States is also fast becoming a mess itself. Now, let's talk about the guns. The guns were even turned on members of the security forces, as both the Jamaica Defense Force and the Jamaica Constabulary Force lost manpower to crime during 2024. So they're telling us that both the Jamaica Defense Force and also the Jamaica Constabulary Force, they lost manpower to crime during 2024, that they were unable to control crime and violence because the criminals had more powerful weapons than they do. And guess where the guns are coming from? Guess where the arms are coming from? From the United States of America. But it is the same country that is going to impose damning, trade agreements, and will also prevent Jamaicans from coming there if the crime rate continues, right? Now, we talk about there are other crimes that were recorded. We have financial crimes, including bank and wire fraud. So last year, there were just a lot of, too many, I should say, incidents in which people lost their money through, frauds, through fraudulent activities, bank fraudulent activities, and also wire transferring when you're transferring monies to your family and friends. An increase in motor vehicle larceny rather, I'm sorry, as well as crime and violence in close proximity to or on school compounds. So we also have, those are different and separate crimes. So crimes in Jamaica, we have all types of crimes in Jamaica, not just the murders, right? But we also have criminal activities on campus, violence also on school compounds, and we have bank fraud and wire transfer frauds also. Of course, scamming, all of that is a part of the crime element. We also remember that our social media personalities, including Naya Gang and Bushead 41, were also, and some others, were actually injured, were murdered, were fatally murdered, killed, lost their lives on their live, right, on their social media app. Here, what the Gleaner is saying, among the many investigations were the murder of an entertainer known publicly as Body Good, who was shot and his body dumped in Guava Gap, St. Andrew, on February 13th. Another was the murder of Xavier Nayagang Foga during a TikTok live stream on December 7th in Old Harbor, I beg your pardon, as well as fellow TikToker Marvin 41 Bushead Samuels' murder in St. James on December 20th. So that is, we see that in every way possible, Jamaica is a crime-infested country. Let's fast forward to September 2nd, Allman Town murder of University of the West Indies student, 23-year-old Kiauno Popsy Watson, which also occurred during a TikTok live. And the December 8th dramatic live stream, the murder of 4 criminals at a supermarket in Spalding, right? Manchester were also of note. So we remember now that there were some criminals that went to hijack a supermarket, right? And they were caught by the police, and one went on his live and he was trying to see how he could negotiate with the police. One of the criminals went on his TikTok live to see how he could negotiate with the police so that he could be released and not, or they could be released and not be killed. On January 19th, the political arena was left shocked after a probe by the Major Investigations Division led to former People's National Party Member of Parliament, Julian Silvera, being charged with the murder of his wife, Melissa. So the crime and violence is not just among the people who are disenfranchised and the underprivileged, right? It's also now among the political class, right? Members of the political class, as we have it here in this brutal murder. Now, we have also mass killings. So mass killings don't only happen in the United States, they happen also in Jamaica. The mass killings started to resonate on August 11th following the deaths of 9 people and injuring of 10 others in Cherry Tree Lane in Four Paths, Clarendon. Right? A few weeks later, on August 21, 7 people were shot, one fatally at the wake of entertainer Chris Martin's grandmother in Point Hill, St. Catherine. So all of these people were murdered. And not to talk about the Canadian citizen, the Jamaican Canadian who went to Jamaica during the Christmas also, and he was also brutally murdered. Right? Now we talk about on Heroes Day, October 21, 5 men were shot and killed after a peace football match in Pleasant Heights, formerly Warika Hill, Rockfort in Kingston East. And by the way, this morning we woke up, the Gleaner suggesting that the same community here, East Kingston, the citizens are also under, some state of emergency. Curfew, not state of emergency, but curfew, that they will not be able to leave their premises, right? So that's the Jamaica that we're living in. Prime Minister Andrew Holness and his team visited the scene, as well as scene of the most recent mass killing, which occurred on November 25 along Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew. And that Waltham Park Road incident is very, very horrific because, the mother, she says that she lost her husband and also her 2 sons to crime and violence. 5 people were killed in separate incidents less than an hour apart. Wow. So, and a long list of people on October 8th, I can't read all of that to you. Orlando Jockey Chin took investigators to Girlstown Lane, where Cobra's body was exhumed from a shallow grave. Wow. This is just amazing, right? Horrific crimes in the land of Marcus Mosiah Garvey, right? And the list goes on. It's a long list of what is happening in Jamaica in terms of crime and violence. But hear what the government is saying. Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chan, has said states of public emergency, SOEs, and zones of special operations, ZOZOs, were instrumental in reducing the country's murder rate last year, right? States of emergencies, because that is the policy from here on, that when you have a flare-up in crime and violence, the government is going to have you locked down, locked into your homes, and you won't be able to leave your premises from the times that they have given to you. While the government is free now. The government can roam and go anywhere it wants to go. These ministers of government, they can go to Montego Bay, to Kingston, to Manchester without any hassle. But you, the members of the community, have to be locked in your homes, inside your premises or on your premises. You can't go out. You don't have the freedom of mobility due to crime and violence. Now, that is a country that is in serious crisis, right? And that Trump, in his no-nonsense demeanor, is going to suggest that it's a terrorist society. We are going to be branded. We are soon going to be branded as a country that poses a threat to the national security of the United States, right? And we don't want to be invaded by the United States. And I see people online, oh, the United States want to buy Jamaica. Buy Jamaica for what? What is in Jamaica to be bought? There's nothing in Jamaica that the US desire. It's just like a military base, yes. Could be used as a military base. But there's no minerals there that they want. Some bauxite, they can get it from other countries. Right? So there's nothing special going on in Jamaica. And remember now that the US is concerned about interests. That is why they're looking at the Panama Canal, because that is of interest to the United States. Yeah? So we have to be, and the US can use also as a pretext to invade Jamaica, the fact that Chinese are there, and they probably will even say that they're contributing to the crime and violence, even though they might not be, but that's how the US operates. Now, speaking in the House of Representatives, recently, Chan criticized the position taken by the parliamentary opposition to not support the imposition of SOEs. Listen to what Chan is saying. States of public emergency were designed to save lives and bring down the murder rate quickly. Save lives at the very beginning as we rebuild and transform our security forces for lasting change. We care about the lives of Jamaicans, Chang said. Didn't we hear that during the pandemic also? That they cared about lives, right? That their main goal, right, was to reduce the loss of lives during the pandemic. Did that happen all around the world? I leave that for you to answer. According to Chang, the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, that's the JLP, had always articulated that the plan of the government was to use strong legislative measures to reduce the homicide rate while we build out the security forces and initiate strategic social transformation ventures, write laws which take some time themselves, but would save lives and create greater safety in the community. All right, so that is what he's suggesting. But so there is no crime plan. The government is not moving forward with any crime plan at all. Right? Now, look at this long list that Andre, because Andre Williams is the writer of this article. January, cop shot by madman with his squaddies gone along Maxfield Avenue, January 10th. January 10th, 14-year-old shot by police in 100 Lane. January 19th, Silvera suspect. So this is last year. And January 25, Tasty employee killed on the job in Crossroads. Can you imagine? An employee killed on the job in Crossroads. Wow. Now we have February, right? Social media personality killed, thrown from car in Stony Hill. February 14th, tension in Augustown after police killing before election motorcade. February 24th, that happened. March, whose bullet hit the victim, March 30th, April, King Alarm guard charged with assault of 9-year-old at UWI. Burnt shop drive-by shooting of 3 men, April 24th. 9-year-old assaulted at UWI campus. 9-year-old assaulted on UWI campus. So even the UWI campus is not safe. That was April 25. May, cops killed 4 men who went on murder rampage in Kingston. That was May 8th. Cop under probe for abduction and robbery in St. Thomas, May 14th. Cowboy and Indian style shootout in Burnside, Red Hills, that's May 16th. And the basketballer found dead in Portmore, May 19th. Remember that. Footballer Rafiq Thomas killed in Denham Town. Remember that also May 28th. June, hot lunch surprise, June 1. And the list goes on. The list goes on, a long list of Jamaicans being killed, right? Without any sort of justice that is on the horizon. It's just killing them, snuffing out the lives of Jamaicans. Yet our politicians tell us that we are off to a great start and that their dealings with the IMF and these multilateral institutions have been great and have allowed Jamaica to being on the path of development that we have never seen in the history of Jamaica, a development that we have never experienced in the history of Jamaica. And our citizens believe it. Our citizens believe it, even though they have not seen it, but they have decided to accept it and to believe it. Because, as the Bible passage says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. They rather believe in a man than they will believe in God. Some Jamaicans, don't even want to believe in God anymore. They believe only in what man tells them, and they're not seeing that it's the same faith that you're trying to put in a man, only that you are defying a man than worshiping the God of heaven. It's the same faith. When God says it, that's what he says, and he means it. And he stands way superior to all beings in the entire universe. Right? Yet still, we believe what Andrew Holness is saying. We believe what Mark Golding is saying, even though the reality is to the contrary, right? But we love the crime and violence. We love the social mayhem. We love the social disorder because that is how the culture is. And we love to have fun. And while we're having fun and the mayhem is in earnest, murders upon murders are happening and soiling the image of Jamaica and Jamaicans, right? But if we do not put a dent on crime during the Trump administration, I think that he is going to describe us, he is going to designate Jamaica as a terrorist country, as a pariah in the region. It's time for us now to wake up. It's time for us to demand much of our government. It is also time for us to have a serious conversation on crime and violence and its root causes. We often look at the symptoms and we do not look at the causes, the root causes of crime and violence. We also have to look at the genesis, the history, which we do not like to look at because of the political machinations and the political intrigues. And we need to stop having these sensationalist YouTube videos that are talking about how Trump is going to buy Jamaica, and you have 61K, 64K views on something nonsense, something nonsensical as that Trump is going to buy Jamaica. Buy Jamaica for what? What is in Jamaica for him to buy? What is there in Jamaica for him to buy? Nothing. Maybe he'll buy a few military bases, but he doesn't want Jamaica because Jamaica is a sick place at the moment and nobody would want to buy it. Because what we have created there is a mess and would take probably centuries to clean up. All right? So we need to get our acts together. Let's have now an open and transparent discussion, a non-partisan discussion on crime and violence and the murder rate, the high, out of control murder rate that we are witnessing in Jamaica. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you'd like, share, and subscribe. Remember to like the channel so that you can get more, videos, and that our community will be expanded and, we will have a prosperous year. All the best to you. See you in another video. All the best.